Hey.
Got it. Okay, good. And we are now live. We're late, but
we're 8 minutes late.
It's not. Yeah.
For us, that's really not bad.
Like 8 minutes is pretty damn bad, but like, yeah, for our track record, I feel like that's not the worst thing.
It's like going 1 mile over the speed limit. It's like, who cares?
Compared to last week where we went 50 over the speed limit and had our car impounded because we were so late that people got the time zone wrong and thought that we were a little bit early. Because we were like 58 minutes late, so people thought we might have been 2 minutes early.
How does that even happen?
It's just
when time zones start coming into play.
Yeah, so good. Anyways, this week we have lots of topics, most of which are AMD based. There is so much AMD news, which is great because their stock needs to come up. So hopefully that goes well, but we'll get into that in a moment. Other than that, we also have
a 200 hertz ultra wide monitor, and North Korea has started manufacturing their own iPad. What does that look like? I don't know. Let's find out.
And we're going to start the intro using the Stream Deck. So hopefully this works. I just tried it like a million times and it did, so we'll see. That was awkward.
Oh no. But it's fancy, but it doesn't work. Why
Taryn, it worked before.
It worked fine, like literally 2 minutes
just
ago.
Did. When we weren't live, it worked completely okay. Taryn, it broke.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. Hang on.
Say hi to Taryn, everybody.
Hi. Trying to get this here. Just close.
Give us a second.
Close this thing and oh god, it's gone.
So this is the Stream Deck, as you guys can see.
You're trying to roll the intro?
It's very fancy.
Yeah.
What?
Did that do it?
Well, we can't see now because no.
Well, just click on it.
Okay, it worked when we weren't live. Oh, just click on it.
Oh, good gracious. That kind of sums things up right now. Why is that like
So there's
that?
no XSplit integration right now. That's the issue. They have OBS, but they don't have XSplit.
What?
So I told them that that's important, and like it is.
We don't need Windows anything other than 10 or XSplit. Screw it. Anyways, iFixit. You can screw things with their screwdrivers. That would be fantastic. Thank you, iFixit. Also, LTX Tech Carnival 2017. If you want to go to that, get some tickets. Meet me there. And Squarespace. Thank you very much to Squarespace. I'm going to shove this back to the top. And then I'm going to try to use the Stream Deck. Nope. Going to click on it. That worked better.
Sometimes an easier solution is better. Not always, but sometimes.
I feel bad because I was kind of attacking Elgato on Twitter because their Stream Deck only works with Windows 10, and I don't like Windows 10, but I like the Stream Deck. And like, I have one now because Cat Boiler bought one for me, which was like amazing.
Well,
but I can't use it because I don't use Windows 10.
Aren't you currently using the version of Windows that has the current least market penetration, except for maybe Vista?
Probably close to that.
Okay.
But like supporting the last two is a fairly general thing that most people
I think
do.
That's fair. You think
but okay, anyways,
yeah.
I still think it's a super cool product.
It is.
For a pretty niche crowd, but still a super cool product. So I'm actually not trying to roast them by having it not work right now. There's something going wrong because it was totally working flawlessly when we were offline. And I will completely admit to that. So
that's how it always happens. It works perfectly when no one's looking.
Taryn is the one that's trying to do the review on this thing. So if you guys are interested in the Stream Deck and have any specific questions about it or anything like that, hit Taryn up on Twitter. Do you know what his handle is? I don't know handles off the top of my head.
It's at TarynVH.
That sounds right. Yep. So at TarynVH on Twitter, if you have any specific questions about the Stream Deck, he will vet those, see if they're important enough, and maybe include them in his review. But to start the show, we've got AMD news, not Stream Deck news. The first of the main AMD news topics is AMD announces new ThreadRipper details, and these are pretty freaking juicy. You want to start firing through them? I'll get this on screen.
Yeah, so ThreadRipper is confirmed to be half of an EPYC processor, that's EPYC, and when I first read this, I had the slide Gary Johnson moment where I thought it was an acronym, but it's not. It's just EPYC spelled with a Y because it's supposed to be their super high-end thing. So we're looking at 16 cores and 32 threads on the top end, made of 2 processor dies. So that's pretty interesting. All products feature 64 lanes of PCI Express, with 60 of those coming off of the chipset. For reference, the top end of the new Intel i9s on the other side are 44, so you're getting quite a bit more with this. All products featuring DDR4 quad channel RAM, pretty standard. 16 megs of level 3 cache.
Cool.
An X399 chipset, and
Which is so annoying.
yeah, because I saw this. I had yet another moment like that where I saw X399. I'm just like, is Intel releasing like 2 families of chipsets back to back because of 299? But
Yeah.
they're not. This is an AMD thing.
Like,
so.
ugh.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just trying to zest Intel with the naming a little bit there. Ours is 100 better.
And yeah, and you're not going to want to name your next platform this one because we already had it and blah blah.
Yeah, exactly.
The naming schemes for the last like few years, just I can't even get over it. And I know you guys
Really
are probably
can't.
even like tired of hearing it at this point because I feel like every single video that a product has a stupid name, like the Surface Pro instead of being the Surface Pro 5 or almost any Razer laptop at this point. Like it's so frustrating that all the reviewers freak out about it. I don't know how interesting it is for the viewers, but like, I don't know.
At some
Leave it
point, I'm
alone.
just expecting someone to get sick of it, like a new company, start model names.
Company
at
named,
1.
company, product name.
One, and just start 1, 2,
Product
3,
1.
4. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
SKU 1, product 1, done.
Why not?
We've made 500 products. What is this product's name? 500.
It's like Intel's first ever processor was what, the 4004? What happened to 1 through 4003? Like I know there was a reason behind it, but still, anyway, but.
Okay, so there's a rumor about the ThreadRipper, and that rumor is that the ThreadRipper might be under $1,000, which, due to the, more recent news from the Intel camp, is a little bit cheaper.
The 16-core version of the Core
16
i9,
core.
which is on the top end. The top end is 18 cores and costs $2,000.
Yeah.
The 16-core, I don't know the pricing off the top of my head, but you have to think it's at least a $1,500 part. So this is going to be quite a bit cheaper.
Yeah, and like this is a random tweet leak kind of deal thing, if it even is a leak. This is a little loose, but yeah, I don't know.
$849 is insanely cheap for what you're getting.
And the thing is that sounds like a move AMD would try to pull. So I'm not even like way too
It doesn't
surprised.
seem unrealistic. This seems
Yeah.
like something they would do. I mean, there's also the whole IPC argument and what single-threaded like.
Yeah,
but,
there's more to it for sure.
But, at the same time, Ryzen's been mostly good as far as single-threaded so far. So
Yeah.
you have to think, okay then.
Then we've got Eva. I'm just going to try to power through some AMD news here. Hopefully everyone wants to hear about AMD stuff. I do. It's kind of what's interesting right now. So AMD trims prices of the Ryzen 7 1700 and the Ryzen 1700X. So I showed that to you guys on stream. The current price of the 1700 is $319. That's going down by 10. Or sorry, the current price is $329. That's going down by 10 to $319. Not a major difference, but the 1700X, which was $399, is going down by $50 to $349. And the 1800X has a little bit of a smaller change. It's going from $499 to $469 with a savings of $30. That 1700X discount is pretty sick, actually.
It's pretty substantial. It's just like booking a hotel at Disney World. The more expensive thing gets the bigger discount when it goes on sale, and that's kind of what's happening here.
Well, not entirely.
Not entirely, but
It's the most expensive
You're not
one.
going to save as much on the very low end though. But
Yeah.
that's I think $50. Get yourself a AAA title. Get
Yeah.
yourself a few 12 packs of Mountain Dew. Get yourself
Hell
whatever else,
yeah.
whatever else you're into. Yeah,
Fill the mini fridge. There you go.
there you go.
But yeah, I know. I think that's pretty cool.
I think
50
about
bucks
replacing
off.
my nightstand with a mini fridge. I'm thirsty in the middle of the night, just reach over. 'Cause I have to
Hell
go,
yeah.
my fridge is all the way downstairs now. It's like,
Get some Nuka-Cola.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, but like I think that's pretty substantial. 400 to 350. There's that like golden number that's like around. It was 300 for a long time, but then I think there's been some inflation, and now it might be like 350.
Right.
But for a long time, like consoles were right around 300. Like a lot of like nicer things that you could get for like your house, like different tabletop things and whatnot, tried to aim at like 300 because it was a digestible but relatively expensive item that you could buy. But like a digestible, like you could save up for this over a little bit and get it, and it would probably be fine.
Yeah, see, that's the trick in this industry, right? You want to price things high, but not too high, and there's always a spot to hit there.
So I think that might help them actually getting to that 350 number. That's pretty cool. Absolutely. And on top of that, AMD VEGA release dates. This is cool. The VEGA Frontier Edition card will be available on June 27th.
Can we bring up a picture of that? Because it looks pretty baller.
Hopefully they've got it in here because ooh, that's pretty cool. I like it.
You might not be able to tell from the screen cap there, but that little yellow thing on the upper right is actually it's a cube. It
right?
lights up. It's illuminated. The R, of course, for Radeon. So and it also comes in a kind of a reverse color scheme. I think they have a gold one with like a blue cube on it too. So
stupid clickbait stuff. Come on, Anantech. I've always hated, like, not to rag on Anantech while we're here, but I've always hated when there's article clickbait ads on a site that is based around articles. Because, like, it makes you think that, like...
reverse hair loss with this brilliantly simple home remedy.
Anantech is now talking about, like, this secret that'll cure your diabetes and this ear tinnitus ending trick thing and, like, weird other stuff.
Hashtag fake news. Except it literally is.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But yeah, that's a pretty sick looking card. I'm also stoked that it's coming soon because I feel like VEGA has been this like cherry that's been dangled in front of everyone for so freaking long. And it's been actually really annoying because people have been asking me forever on my stream, on this stream, on all the comments, on all the videos, on the forums, everywhere. Like, oh, should I buy this card or should I wait for VEGA? And it's been like, I have no idea because I don't know when VEGA is coming.
Information's been a little bit hard to come by. I actually wonder if they're going to have that sick-looking shroud for the consumer line because the Frontier Edition is more of a professional's card, you know, so it's not really for gaming.
Yeah. Sounds like the Founders Edition. There's a lot of originality going on over there right
X399, the Founders Edition.
Now they need to combine the two. The X399 Founders Edition.
Oh, good lord.
Or sorry, Frontier.
Frontier Edition.
Frontier Edition. I'll get it right. Sorry about that.
Frontier Edition.
Come on, guys. Anyways, that's actually super cool. I'm really stoked on that release date. And I'm assuming that because, like, as far as I know, we don't have one yet. So I'm assuming that means that we're getting one fairly soon. And we'll be able to, like, screw around with it, which will be cool.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, the Frontier Edition of AMD's is AMD's first batch of VEGA-based cards, marketed towards early adopters, completely unlike the Founders Edition. Yeah. Okay. A price has not been announced, so that sort of sucks.
It's going to. I mean, if it's a pro level card, it's going to be like Quadro level probably. So it's going to be pretty high.
It will. Yeah.
It will be many dollars.
Expecting it's not going to be cheap. Some Intel news. Finally, Intel getting on the board. So much AMD news. Intel announces Skylake-X, bringing 18-core HCC silicon to consumers for $2,000.
They've also simultaneously announced Kaby-X, which is very confusing.
Yes.
So Skylake-X is like the super high end, and then Kaby-X, at least for now, is going to be, I think, mainly 4-core, 8-thread i7s.
Right.
Which were going through puberty there.
Apparently.
Yeah. But
that was wild.
So we're not used to seeing 4-core, 8-thread SKUs being considered an enthusiast product, but apparently now at least some of them are. So that's happening as well.
Yeah,
It's very, speaking of confusing naming schemes, but yeah, top end i9, 18 cores, 36 threads, $2,000.
It's cool, but I think this is going to be an interesting fight, and I think at least as far as our viewers are concerned, AMD's probably going to win this fight because just the value proposition of those dollar amounts is pretty intense.
I feel bad for anyone who bought a 6950X with its puny 10 cores because they're selling they're selling a 10-core i9 as the lowest end i9.
Yeah.
They have SKUs going from 10 to 18 cores.
Yeah.
So if you spent that much money on a 6950X, I feel bad for you, son.
I got 18 problems, I guess.
Yeah.
But only having 10 isn't one of them. I failed that pretty hard.
Let's revisit this joke later. I feel like this is one that's worth processing in the background for a few minutes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Speaking about processing in the background possibly not happening anymore, Elon Musk to Trump, you quit Paris, so I quit you. This is some political jargon, so we're probably not going to spend too much time on this. But Elon Musk and Disney boss, didn't know about that part, quit Trump's business panel over the Paris pullout.
Basically what happened, there was this thing called the Paris Accord. It was agreed to last year. It was a ton of countries getting together saying, hey, let's do something about global warming. Then Trump got elected, and he said, nah, I ain't about that. He's going to try to pull the U.S. out of it, and Elon Musk is not very happy about it. So Elon is no longer sitting on, I think President Trump had some sort of technology council advisory group thing. Elon's not too happy with the Paris decision, so he's pulling out, and that's pretty much that.
Yeah. So Elon's tweet said, am departing presidential councils. Climate change is real. Leaving Paris is not good for America or the world. And there you go. Although, in counter news, because I'm trying to explain the whole playing field, I believe there was a surge in the stock market or something.
I have no idea.
The stock market did well or something. If you're interested in that, go check it out somewhere else. We're not very good at covering political topics. That's not our MO.
Correlation is not causation, or is it? Decide for yourself. Also, I should be noted, however you feel about this issue, the Paris Accord actually, to my knowledge, it doesn't mandate that the signatories actually do anything. So it's not like, oh, you must reduce carbon emissions by X percentage by year Y, or there will be consequences. I don't think it does anything like that. But whichever way you feel about this, there you go. So
this is another kind of political topic kind of deal where we're probably not going to dive into it too far, but you guys might be interested, so we're at least going to give you the kernel, so that if you are interested in it, you can go try to find the whole popped corn. I don't know where I was going with that, but
the whole piece of popcorn.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, one is a precursor, the other is I guess that works. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. So this is U.S. approved social media background checks for visa applicants. So the reason why we thought this might be interesting to you guys is social media, I guess, tech things, social media stuff. I don't know.
This is definitely tech.
Is it?
I mean,
it's social media.
Sure, but I mean, how?
Do you call someone who's on Twitter a lot a techie?
Go on our forums. Go on Ars Technica. Go on any of the major sites that cover tech news. There's always stuff about either privacy or net neutrality, which affects social media, and is discussed as a tech topic. So I think it's completely appropriate.
Yeah,
so.
I've always just thought it's been a little weird, but I do agree with saying it at all. There's a questionnaire, which we can check out here in a second, because it was linked by the glorious person who made this doc. So here we go. Here's the, wow, okay. Yeah, we're not going to look that closely at that. Social media identifier, name/handle, social media platforms. You can see that right there. So I guess you'd have to declare. I wonder how, what is defined by social media? Please provide your unique username for any websites or applications you have used to create or share content, photos, videos, status updates, etc., as part of a public profile within the last 5 years. So,
what qualifies?
If someone is not from the States and they use LinusTechTips.com, I think they would have to declare their username and the site.
Let's just get right down to brass tacks. Well, if you have a Pornhub account and you're leaving comments on that, does that, I mean, seriously, does
no,
that
but
count?
I think it would.
If you want to embarrass yourself to that point,
because that is in a form. It says status updates, which is just text, and then etc.
There's also the thing where I also wonder how they would find out. Let's say you just put let's say you just put Twitter. All I use is Twitter. I have a public Twitter handle. You put that down. You declare it. So if you had 5 other things, would they necessarily know or find out?
Maybe they're going to cross-search your handle.
They could potentially do
Bad
that.
Boy 52 and find you on Pornhub as well. I don't know.
If you're a known person of interest to Customs and Border Protection, and you only declare one handle and be like, oh yeah, we need to like look at this guy. So there's this huge like veil of secrecy around it, you know, because you don't know exactly what that information
It's really
have access
vague.
to. Yeah,
and it's really vague to the point where like I feel like if you signed up for some random site 4.45 years ago and completely forgot about
and
it.
tons of people have
Yeah.
accounts just around the internet they've
All
forgotten
the
about
time.
because they don't need. Oh, I want to access an article and I have to sign up for a stupid free account. I'm never going to use it again. But it does say though that this isn't like an auto request. It says that additional information would only be requested when the department determines that quote unquote such information is required to confirm identity or conduct more rigorous national security vetting. So this sounds like they're going to ask you if you're already like flagged, if you're already some kind of person of interest to them.
It also says if you're unsure of the answer to a question, please provide a response to the best of your knowledge. So I don't feel like you're going to get crushed too
The
hard.
vast majority of dealings with the federal government is you're not going to get in ridiculous trouble as long as you're trying to tell the truth. Like that's kind of how the IRS operates. You know, they don't typically come after people for honest mistakes. They really go at you if they think you're like intentionally like lying or defrauding them.
So don't forget LinusTechTips.com. If you're trying to get a visa in the U.S., make sure you list that as a social media platform. I want as many U.S. officials searching my site for people's usernames as possible. Just because it sounds fun.
Okay, so if we get guys in like dark suits showing up one day at the door and sunglasses.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. I'm excited.
What's the chat saying about this? I kind of want to know.
I have no idea.
Probably nothing good.
Will do. Yes. Thank you very much, Roy. I appreciate your willingness to do so.
Yeah, at least I'm a U.S. citizen. Yeah, I feel the same way. I was actually
you're
crossing
fine.
the border the other day. I was driving down to Bellingham, and I got a pretty gruff border officer. I gave him my passport. He saw it was from the U.S. His whole tone completely changed. Oh, welcome back. He just started becoming super chill with me because I have BC license plate, so he must have thought I was Canadian. But he saw that, and it was so funny. But
So another person come over the border to pick up a darn package. So many of them.
oh Lord, okay.
My favorite question is, what are you coming over for? I'm just picking up a package. Sir, it's 3 a.m. Why are you picking up a package? I don't sleep, man.
Well, yeah, you know what I would say if I were you, and this would also not be lying, is that the border waits are much less.
Yeah, there's a few. I've had to get into it a little bit more a couple times, but that's a big one. I can just roll up, and there's usually only nobody or one or two people in front of me, which is
Greater
pretty nice.
Vancouver has two major highway border crossings, and they're both usually extremely busy, so you can wait quite a while.
Yeah. Next up is North Korea's iPad,
Oh boy.
which is just.
air quotes, iPad. There we go.
Yeah. So a North Korean company named Myohyang, sure. Myohyang IT released a new tablet, and they called it the iPad. So that is not. Yeah, okay, good. It says in the corner of this photo, actual iPad designed by Apple in California.
I like how designed by Apple in California.
Made it all the way to that subtext.
Goodness, okay.
I think the reason why I made it there was because he was trying to be like making a joke, like not designed by some random dudes in North Korea.
It's obviously a joke. Like it's not made by Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang, so
Yeah. Apple hasn't commented on this development, its use of its most popular trademarks, and while the company undoubtedly isn't pleased with it, it's unclear what kind of legal action it could take against a company that's controlled by the North Korean government.
I guarantee you they don't care. Their lawyers don't care. I don't think there's really any significant market in North Korea for Western consumer goods. At the same time,
I don't think there is a market in North Korea.
Yeah, there's not going to be.
For that.
This isn't going to be shipped out of North Korea. It's probably going to be one of those dealies like with their radios and TVs over there. Oh, it's set to like 3 channels that only broadcast government-approved like content and propaganda. This is probably going to be the same thing where they have it running through like a firewall just for North Korea.
Yeah.
So Apple's not going to care. It doesn't matter.
So it can. This is fantastic. It has a 1 gigahertz CPU, 512 megabytes of RAM, 8 gigs of internal storage, 16 gigs of external storage, an 8-inch display, and it promises 6 hours of battery life. Honestly, that is not quite as bad as I expected. The next part, though, is rather fantastic. It's currently unknown what kind of apps the device will be able to run in a region like North Korea, which is not surprising. But it has a total of 28 websites that it can access. That's a pretty good number of websites.
It's probably
28.
like 8 gigabytes is also, that's a lot of compressed JPEG
I think
images
Linus
with your leader.
owns more than 28 domains just because he likes buying domains.
Yeah. So how many images of the deer leader is that? 8 gigabytes, and how much would like a
There
720
has to be
yeah.
a minimum quota. Like you have to have a certain percentage of your storage on your tablet filled with various angles and various images of the leader.
Yes. Oh yeah. And like
Can't call 'em great.
the game is probably something like, it's like Space Invaders, except it's like Kim Jong Un and like a little fighter fighting the capitalists or something like that. It's probably something like that. So
shooting American flags in an asteroid simulator.
bastards. Yeah. But so yeah, that's happening.
That's pretty epic. Can Apple even do anything to stop this? I seriously doubt it, unless Apple decides to get an army, which at this point they could probably do.
They probably could, but I mean, I mean, again, like if you're going to say, okay, well, this violates some sort of like intellectual property statute with or not statute, but agreement that North Korea is probably not even a signatory to, they still have to enforce their laws inside their own borders. It's kind of like Team America World Police, where Hans Blix comes in.
Yeah.
Or what? Or we'll write you a letter saying how angry we are with you. So yeah, probably nothing's going to happen, and some folks in North Korea will be getting their commie pads. So
yeah,
there you have it.
After that, we've got ASUS with an announcement of a 35-inch ROG Swift PG35VQ display with quantum dots and a 200 hertz refresh rate. My question, I'm actually getting a little bit disturbed by this, ASUS. Where the heck is the 4K HDR G-Sync beautiful Swift that they announced at CES that I saw in person working? Why can't I buy one? I tweeted them, and they just liked it. They didn't say anything.
Oh, the long troll. Okay. Well, you know better than to see a prototype at a trade show and then be like, oh, well, when can I buy this? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Maybe it only worked for the length of the show, and it like died 5 seconds after everyone left. You don't know that. So
funny story about the seeing the prototype thing. In 2012. Just before Christmas in 2012, I decided that I was good. This was, remember, 2012. This is early Kickstarter. This is when people still
believed Kickstarter
that things might happen. I saw a hammer on there. It was super cool. It's called the Kolbar hammer. Let me see if I can find this.
Is this like the two-handed greatsword?
The Kolbar, here it is.
Kolbar hammer by Lance Brandon.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see.
Was I right? Was it 2012?
Whoa, this thing does look pretty cool. Yeah, hit updates.
So yeah, expected delivery of June 2013, and my gift to him was the backing of the project.
This is brutal. Project launch April 25th, 2013.
Okay, so it was a 2013,
but
not 2012.
It's been a long time.
But it's been a while.
Yeah.
So I backed the Kolbar hammer. I decided to back this thing for my dad. It's super cool in theory. Usually I'm not into like multi-tool stuff, but this one actually looked pretty sweet. You can see like a lot of people covered it. You can turn it into a crowbar instead of just being a hammer. It's a socket wrench. Like it's a whole bunch of different things, and they're destruction tools. So you can take them apart completely. That's amazing. Like it's pretty cool, right? It's still not out, but the best part about this, because most Kickstarter projects, if it's been like 4 years, they would have just given up, right? Kolbar has not given up at this point. If you go to their updates tab, which I check every once in a blue moon just out of interest, 5th month, 10-day, 17th year. They are still giving updates. For backers only, so I can't see it because I'm not logged in, but dang.
It's basically a modular hammer. Why is it taking so long? Like, does it have Bluetooth or something? Like, what? Like, why is it?
And yeah, that's the other part. Okay, so the whole reason why I got to this story is in their demonstration videos, they have one. And they like the guy like jams it in a little thing and hangs off of it, and like they do tons of tests with it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll back this because they physically have the product, and I can clearly see that it is working.
Maybe it was a very, very, very well done hologram.
Oh man!
At this point, I have to wonder if it's been 4 years.
That thing crushed my soul. That destroyed any possibility of me being into Kickstarter.
Well, it's
that like fueled the Kickstarter kick-farted series.
Well, it's funny because it's a literal hammer, so it smashed your faith.
It smashed my faith. Yes.
In Kickstarter. There you go.
Just buy a hammer and a multi-tool. I know. I was trying to like. My dad is totally. Of the persuasion, and I agree with this, to be completely honest, of just buy the damn tool, use it till it breaks, and then buy another one, and like toss them around, do whatever. The job is what's important, but try to not buy one that's like too crap, but like he's not super into like, oh, this is such a amazing tool. Whoa. He just like wants something that he can do the job with.
Yeah, like.
So I was gonna try to buy him something that was above the tier that he normally shops at, so
but
he can
not,
have like. So that he doesn't have to be the one that buys it. So that he doesn't feel bad about spending too much money on something.
Mm-hmm. But it's also not like God tier.
Yeah, it's just kind of a cool,
Mm-hmm.
nifty thing. And then, nope, never got it. Completely failed. Someone in chat said, I hate sand. Yeah.
It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
It's just... The Star Wars
It's funny every time.
It is. It absolutely is. Speaking of funny every time, every single time it's funny, we're going to go to looking at Channel Superfun on Floatplane. So here we go. This is the Floatplane Club. Where's Channel Superfun? Meanish YouTube comments. This was actually genuinely hilarious.
I had a great time with this one.
So everyone that you can see in the thumbnail right now, including the one and only Nikki V and John, who's sitting right beside me, read through comments.
That's what you're doing every day. You're living it.
Various platforms and discuss how mean they may or may not be.
You know,
Lie
it's a
about
great
cheating.
video, but Colton could have picked far meaner things.
There's some pretty intense things.
Some of them are brutal. Dennis had some pretty brutal ones.
This one on screen, how to be Dennis. Be terrible at everything, cheat, and then lie about cheating.
That honestly sounds a little bit more like Linus. Linus is like the perpetual. If you watch Kenny versus Spenny, Linus on Channel Superfun is Kenny. I can't remember a Channel Superfun where he did not cheat in some way or attempt to cheat.
Yeah.
I think the last, the
Or
batting
Scrapyard Wars, am I right?
There you go. Yeah. The batting cages wasn't a competition because we were just literally hitting balls. But other than that, yeah, every time.
So you can see it scrubs pretty quick, which is cool.
Looks
You can
like
watch this video
a
now
bouncer.
if you're interested, which is cool.
And you can even download it to watch it later.
You can, which is awesomely fantastic. Scrapyard Wars, if you guys have been enjoying that, the last episode of Scrapyard Wars will be on Floatplane this weekend. They've been on Floatplane every Saturday so far, but the main editor for them, Edsel, got pretty freaking sick, actually. So the next one is going to be slightly delayed. It will be coming out on Sunday instead of on Saturday, but it is still coming on Floatplane first, so you can see the actually insane, probably the most insane conclusion of any Scrapyard Wars we've had. The last season of Scrapyard Wars, season 4, was my favorite one, but in terms of conclusions, this last conclusion is insane. And by far the most nutty freaking balls conclusion we've ever had. Like, no question about it at all. You don't know, do you?
I've only watched through the first episode. I have not had time to watch
Yeah,
it.
okay.
I fully intend to watch the rest of them. I'm not
Yeah.
just saying that, but...
Everyone that was a part of
not
it has
time.
been trying to stay rather closed-lipped about it around the office, because a lot of people around the office
If I
are
don't have
watching.
any much going on this weekend, I might just sit down and like binge like the last couple of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think this week, not to bash on my own platform, but I think this week a fair amount of the things that were released were from Computex, so they're on both platforms. But we do have a few different things. That meanish YouTube comments on Channel Superfun is genuinely hilarious.
Would highly recommend that. It was.
There's some Tech Wiki stuff on here. Why do people still use fax machines?
If you guys like the sketch that we did for our scanners fast as possible, you're going to love this one. So yes, why do people still use fax machines? Featuring the one, the only Dennis Liao, currently on Floatplane Club. Just went up today.
What?
And yeah, hey, it's you. Hey, there he is.
This is coming out of a phone. I love it. So
Have
this
you
is, I'm
ever
gonna show you
had
guys
this
just
happen
the
to
first
you?
little bit of
You're
this.
sitting there minding your own business
we'll
and you
end
go,
it.
what's
Yeah, don't
that
give away
strange
product for
ticking
free.
noise? Oh my goodness,
Oh my
it's
god,
a
it's a bomb!
So you call your
Nope,
friend
that's it. Anyways,
That's your teaser. And
That's my
there's
teaser.
another episode about SEO, I believe, which
Yeah.
isn't as exciting, but it's still very interesting.
A cool topic. The Tech Wiki is interesting because it doesn't have like the like sex appeal at certain channels, but it's more interesting than a lot of other things.
Luke has basically summed up my entire life. in that one sentence.
It's not what I was trying to say.
Well, you said it.
Anyways, if you need a website for whatever reason, you can go to Squarespace and get your website on Squarespace. You can save 10% by using offer code WAN. They have 24/7 live chat and email support. It is $12 a month, and if you subscribe for a year, you get a domain rolled in with that. They have a commerce module, so you can sell your stuff online. They have a cover page feature, so you can have one nice, beautiful, scrollable page. And everyone can now publish content in the Apple News format directly from their Squarespace blog module, which is pretty cool. It's automatically available to millions of potential viewers. This thing dynamically changes in a responsive way to basically whatever screen size and whatever format you need. It's all done for you. It's fantastic.
Did you talk about commerce already?
Yes, I did.
If you're using Squarespace and you want to host an online store, this is new. This is a pretty recent update to the platform. They now support lots of different new currencies. So if you want to take
cool.
Israeli shekels, if you want to take pesos from Mexico, if you want to take New Zealand dollars, Singapore dollars, even rubles from our good friends over in Russia, you can do that now.
That's really cool, actually. So squarespace.com/WAN, offer code WAN, 10% off. Moving on, if you need to fix some stuff, I actually use this thing very often at home, now that I have one at home, but iFixit's ProTech Toolkit. You've probably seen them in a lot of our content. We use them in Scrapyard Wars. 64-bit driver kit magnets, which is actually really nice. The lid for the driver kit magnetically goes on, and when you take it off, you can use it as a parts tray, which is pretty sick. It has precision ESD-safe tweezers, including a pair of reverse tweezers. It has a rather wide variety of plastic opening tools that are better quality. Let me see if I actually have one here. Yes, these things are beautiful. Some of the older ones that they had were still really cool, and I liked them a lot, but they weren't as durable as these ones are. So after you use them a few times, the edge would get a little chewed up, and then you might have some issues getting through some thinner electronics. But these new ones have been able to withstand like everything we've thrown at them, which has actually been really cool. They give you 3, which is pretty awesome. So even if you do manage to wear through a few of them,
They've really been a lifesaver because the current trend in electronics, not desktops, but laptops, tablets, mobile phones has been, let's make this thing as difficult to user service as possible. So the opening tools really help.
So those are like manual intervention openers, basically. It's backed by iFixit's lifetime warranty, which is awesome. Buy it because it's awesome, or don't, and you still get access to all of their free repair resources, which is awesome. So even if you have your own driver kit and your own tools, if you want to get into repairing stuff and you don't want to buy this, you can still go to iFixit's website and learn how to take things apart, which is awesome. They use their own toolkits on there, so it's easier if you have their toolkit. But yeah. Head over to head over to iFixit.com/Linus and use offer code Linus at the checkout to save $5 on a purchase of $10 or more. There you go. And if you're in Canada, this is actually a pretty cool note. If you're in Canada, check out Amazon.ca for cheaper shipping options, because sometimes we have sponsors and we talk about buying it or whatever, and people in Canada, where we're from, are like, guys, you're from our own region and shipping sucks for this. So they're offering another option, which is pretty cool. Also, LTX. If you want to show up to a weird place and meet us weird people and do weird things, you can buy tickets for LTX. I'm going to move to that thing. There we go. So you can go to the worst URL to say out loud ever, which is ticketrocket.co/event/details/97246/LTX-2017.
Come meet me. We can talk about burger trivia.
Oh my god, you should have a trivia booth.
We'll figure something out.
That would actually be awesome. I'm doing VR stuff. Taryn's editing a video. You can do the, like, what is that? GeoGuessr.
Yeah. No promises, but it's a fantastic idea. I'm going to look into it.
I actually like that a lot. That would be freaking great. And back to the real show. Okay. What is there even to talk about still? This week was weird. Most of the, like, interesting news from this week is in literal videos that Linus hosted from Computex. But Microsoft has rolled out not one but 2 bad builds on the Windows Insider program. Thanks, guys.
It's like every so often they remember, oh, we're that company that made Windows Me. We should remind people of that from time to time. And they do things like this.
Windows Me.
Millennium Edition?
No, I know. I just don't hear it called that very often. But yeah, I
that's
hear
kind of
what
how
you're
they
talking
marketed it. Like me, oh, it's my version of Windows for regular people in the year 2000, except it wasn't. It just made everyone very, very mad because it didn't work.
Yeah.
The marketing was terrible, but
Windows 7 professional update. So yeah, I don't know.
okay, and now people in the chat are saying, or appear to think that I said Windows meme, M-E-M-E.
Oh my god.
Which it kind of was.
Someone needs to make a custom Microsoft OS that is skinned all with memes.
It's like every day when you log on, there's like a different Courage Wolf as your background. He's saying different things to you.
Cortana is advice dog? Is it just advice dog?
Yeah. It should just be.
It's been a while since that meme was popular, but like, yeah.
You could even do like a 2-in-1 with that. You could have it be advice dog, but it could start every sentence to you with yo dog, like the exhibit meme.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Whenever your system has like a pretty heavy slowdown and then comes up with like an error, it can be slowpoke. That'd be good. Please, someone do this. That would be fantastic.
You know what? You're developing an idea for another Linus Tech Tips video as we speak.
The custom meme
Windows
OS?
meme. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, jeez. John's Picks. What is this?
This is just crap I sent to James.
Okay, what is this? Tell the people.
Tell the people. Okay. Well, first thing I will do is I did find this earlier and I did read it, but I've been busy since then. So let me click on the article first. And
Right
then
to
I will
speak
talk all
freely
about it.
about engineering is subject of First Amendment lawsuit. An engineer was fined $500 for discussing traffic light engineering without a license.
So this happened down in Oregon, which is not too far from here.
Oh, I heard about this.
Apparently, this guy sent the state some advice about traffic light timings. Specifically, he wanted to make yellows longer, which obviously can be very important for traffic flow reasons, and also not to surprise people when they think they have enough time to drive through an intersection, but they actually don't. Anyway, so, but instead of the state saying, hey, thank you for speaking out, concerned citizen, let's have a look at this, they instead slap him with a $500 fine for doing something along the lines of practicing engineering without a license. Now, as some of you know, I went to law school. I have a law license, which is currently inactive because why do I need it right now? But I do have one from North Carolina, and there and in every other state, and also up here in Canada, you can't do a thing called unauthorized practice of law. You can't practice law or give legal advice without a license. It's against the law. So for engineering, I also believe every state has like a professional licensing body for engineers where they're doing the same thing. But just like I can sit here on the WAN show and generally discuss legal topics, like I am doing right now actually, without giving anyone specific advice, you would think an engineer could do the same thing. But the state of Oregon is saying to him, no, you can't even talk about it without a license, because I think this guy doesn't have his license yet. So this is a huge problem. Ended up going to court. He ended up suing the state of Oregon for breach of his First Amendment rights, which is free speech. You can say what you want to. And I think this is still going on, but they basically said that he can talk about this as long as the lawsuit is pending. So that is where we are with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't understand legal stuff, so I have concerns and questions, but I'm just going to move on because they're probably juvenile. Big leagues. $10 million League of Legends tournament. Holy butt chunks. Team applications for the new LCS open today. The buy-in price is $10 million. Players on the 10 selected teams get a guaranteed salary of at least $75,000.
Wait. The buy-in is $10 million?
Yeah.
The buy-in for the World Series of Poker isn't even $10 million. How does that? Jeez.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Riot Games said End goal is to create a strong and stable system that's profitable for pro players and provides entertainment for fans in the long term. And I guess they plan to do that by charging $10 million for 10 teams, which is $100 million.
How many people on the team? Do you know?
Like there would be 5 active players.
But you have like a roster where you have
Coach
more.
and
Yeah.
benchers. Like there's other stuff going on. Once the 10 teams are determined, they are in the league for good. Rise says it will offer incentives to teams that play well and penalize the squads that purposefully stay at the bottom of the ladder. What?
Teams that tank for on purpose for some reason.
Why?
Okay, so admittedly, I don't really watch esports. It's been a very long time since I've played LOL. But what I can say in more traditional sports, certain teams at times are, especially in the U.S. and Canada, it doesn't really work this way in Europe, but in the U.S. and Canada, teams will be accused of tanking if they have no hope of making the playoffs. So they end up tanking for a better draft pick. So whether this has ever actually happened is a matter of debate, but like there's accusations of it happening that pop up every now and then. So maybe it's something like that. You get some kind of extra benefit.
Are you draft picking in League of Legends though?
I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works.
To be clear, we're not talking about draft picks in terms of like when you're drafting heroes for that game.
No, we probably have a lot of people that don't watch sports at all. Yeah, we're talking about like the NFL's college player draft, where the worst teams can pick earlier to help make them better. So
pick a player, like a person, a human being, not draft picking like, oh, let's ban Ezreal or something. I don't know why you do that. I don't think he's very strong right now.
Someone says they say not to get relegated, which may be true. So that would be more like
not to get relegated,
more like soccer. You know about promotion and relegation in soccer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
That's
pretty nuts.
Oh, that is so much. A $10 million buy-in. I wonder how well they're going to do.
I don't know.
I almost wonder if it would help them to have like teams represent specific areas like real sports or traditional sports. I don't want to insult anybody, but
I don't see.
Okay, I have no idea. It's so new.
That's like a deeper topic, but I don't think so, because I think with esports, it's more of a global thing, and because basically everyone is watching online
and you can play from anywhere
online. Yeah. Like I don't think there's a lot of team.
It's just you
local
pick someone who's like
way.
Personalities you like.
Yeah,
or
I could see a little bit more like national spirit. Like if there was like the American team.
That happens a lot in like individual sports.
Yeah.
A little bit more like traditional individual sports. You know, we did have a Heroes of the Dorm in the U.S. where the larger colleges all enter college teams into this. So there was like a little bit of that. But interesting.
Next up, we have the first Ryzen-based all-in-one, which is actually pretty crazy. It's a Dell all-in-one.
Let's have a look at her.
It looks pretty nice, actually. Dell Inspiron 277775 AIO. It's an 8-core AMD Ryzen 7.
Hey, 6 numbers in a row. All right. Great naming
Pretty
scheme.
freaking nuts.
Yeah.
Well, I get the 27's got to be 27.
Well, yes, but even so, even so.
So it's the 7775 AIO, or 7775, whatever you want to call it. AMD Ryzen 7 chip, Radeon RX 580, and a 4K LCD screen. And it looks pretty sharp.
You could actually do some like pretty serious gaming on it with an RX 580.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chassis very vaguely reminds me of the Surface Studio from Microsoft. Like a little bit, you know? Like the way the mouse is, like the way the chassis is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the 7775 this is worded a little bit weirdly, but I can get through. I'm gonna jump away from that actually.
Come on,
really
Anantech.
Well, I couldn't tell if they were talking. Whoa! I just screwed everything.
Yeah, first
up.
the diabetes cure, now this.
Okay, so despite being so it's actually the Inspiron 7000 series. The 7775 is a specific version. There's multiple versions of it. The low-end version is a quad-core AMD Ryzen 5 1400 with an RX 560 with 4 gigs of GDDR5 memory and a 180-watt PSU. But if you jump up to the high end, I believe that one that I just noted is about $1,000. And if you jump to the high end, you get an 8-core AMD Ryzen 7 1700, which I had just mentioned, and then a Radeon RX 580 with 8 gigs of GDDR5 and a 330 watt power supply. And I believe you can get up to 32 gigs of RAM with one of these.
I do hope the lower end one didn't go for like the full like ball and 4K display, because there's no way you're going to get 4K consistently.
It
with
does
560.
say some models
of them
have the 4K, so I seriously doubt that the low end one
So
is
the bare
4K.
bones one is $1,000. So there you go.
Here we go. If we scroll down a little
Oh,
bit,
okay.
they do a better job with it.
So we're display or screen display. There we go. Yeah. So the cheaper one is 1080p. It's still IPS, so it's still going to be a pretty good looking display, but it's going to be 1080p.
Yeah.
1980 by that's got to be a typo. Should be 1920 by 1080.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? I think that is a typo.
Yeah.
In terms of USB connections, which is like a topic of much debate these days, I do see Type-C, which is good. So they have 2 USB 2.0, which is fine. They have 3 USB Type-A. They have 2 USB 2.0 Type A, which is fine, 3 USB 3.0 Type A, which is good, 1 USB 3.1 Type C, which is solid, and then 1 USB 3.1 Type A, which is also pretty good. The webcam is 720p, which is like actually a little disappointing. Like still seeing stuff showing up in 720p is it's running Windows 10 Home 64-bit, which is about what you'd probably expect. It's kind of cool, though. It looks sharp. I'm happy to see AMD getting their products and stuff like this, so that's cool.
Yeah, it also looks a little bit more elegant than some past gaming AIOs we've
Yes.
seen. I mean, granted, a lot of that is more the GPU manufacturers, but even so,
And I think part of this is that I don't think it's heavily aimed at gaming.
it's a
Like,
thing that you
definitely
can
could.
game on if you want.
It's powerful
Yeah.
enough. The higher end one is definitely powerful enough that you could, but it looks more like it's designed for like, if you wanted to edit some video or photos. And
Yeah,
stuff. 'Cause
Lil
it's like
Nex in
professional.
the comment in the Twitch chat says 580 for 4K casual use is great, and I would agree with that. So
Yeah.
there you go. Okay,
Moving on, we're a little thin on topics.
are we
this
talking
week.
about the facial recognition thing with the monkeys? Are we going to talk about that?
Where's that? That's down here, right?
It's under John's picks, which is why I mentioned
I didn't know
it.
what the heck was going on. with
Hashtag
that.
shameless.
You want to start talking about it? I'll get it on screen.
So, there's an article in The Guardian here about scientists discovering how the brain recognizes faces by reading the minds of monkeys, more specifically analyzing their brainwave patterns.
Yeah, it's a little different, but you know.
And what they did was they looked at their brainwaves and decoded faces that the monkey, like human faces that the monkeys remembered. And you might be able to see it on the screen capture here, but they were almost exactly the same as the subjects appeared in real life, which is both cool and a little bit unnerving. So, you start wondering about, things like, reading minds and reading thoughts were once purely the realm of science fiction, but now you're starting to wonder, okay, is this something that actually has some water to it,
Some of them look like video gamified versions of the real people.
A little bit, yeah. So the predicted faces are on the right and the actuals are on the left.
Yeah.
They're pretty close though.
Actually,
Like
for this one, I thought the predicted face was the accurate one, and the actual face was not.
isn't that weird?
Because the actual face on this
Yeah.
one actually looks lower resolution than the predicted face,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, so you have to wonder about does this mean that a person could end up one day with the correct equipment seeing what is the person thinking, but
Or who they're thinking about and what they're thinking about.
I think that they were also talking about your brain encodes like faces a certain way, and it does much kind of like a GPU would do, like mathematical transformations to, like, if there's a shape on your computer screen and it's like rotating, you can see that it's like a cube or it's a circle or it's a sphere or like whatever else. Your GPU is doing mathematical transformations to it to figure out what it looks like. So the article was saying the brain works similarly, where if you have met a person a couple times, even if you haven't seen their face from every possible angle, your brain can do these mathematical transformations transformations. So when you see the person again, maybe you just see them like from the side or like from an angle when they're walking away from you, but you can still figure out who it is. So it seems like it's tapping more into that part of the brain. As far as reading like emotional thoughts, that might be a little bit different. I don't know, but
Someone in the chat said how to hide your porn. So like we'd have to make like a version 2 of that video.
yeah, it's like
Think of your grandma.
Here's how not to think about what you've been looking at. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, it's like as soon as you say don't think of a pink elephant, you think of a pink. So
Yeah. How to hide your porn version 2, mind reading edition. That'd be freaking awesome. I should make that video at some point.
In 1,000 years, this might get litigated. This is cover the right to privacy. The right to privacy cover your own thoughts. You know, I would certainly think it does, but
Who knows?
Who knows?
At this point,
who knows?
they're allowed to record
Well,
everything
you know, when
all
you
the
think
time.
in public, you implicitly give up your right to privacy.
Yeah, of course.
I could see some lawyer making that argument like hundreds of years from now. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Nvidia announces GPUs for thinner gaming laptops. So they've got a few different things going on. Now Nvidia is looking to find the fastest and most power-optimized performance level to allow laptops under 20 millimeters thick and sport a GTX 1080.
well, we're already getting pretty close, aren't we? Like with the new Razer blades. You know, you can get a 1080 in those, and how thick are those? You know.
I'm not sure on exact thickness for those, but he's showing pretty thin freaking laptops right here.
With his trademark leather jacket. Very good.
With his freaking leather jacket. Max Q. It's cool. Thinner laptops is good. Whisper mode, blah, 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 blah. We're constantly getting, see, Forbes even. At least they say from the web, but like still, come on guys. News websites that advertise articles for clickbait news is such a weird situation.
It really, really is, because there's tons of people that really can't tell the difference.
Super lame. Anyways, that's just a cool thing. Nvidia's trying to do that. That's cool. They will, I'm sure, succeed if they're going to be this open about the fact that hey, we're going to do this. Yeah, they've probably already done it. Asrock announces ITX boards for AMD Ryzen. That's super cool. I've been kind of waiting for. I expected it was going to happen faster than it has been, but I wanted MATX to get really popular.
There is a serious lack of really good-looking micro ATX boards out there.
And that's part of the problem, yeah. But ITX boards too, like I expected to see more of this stuff going on. I think with Fantex's new case, I can't remember the new name for it. The old name for it was Project 217, but as of this Computex, they have a new name for it. I think that might even help because Fantex cases are super popular and this thing's freaking beautiful.
Yeah, I just want to talk about micro ATX again for a second because when you think about it, if you're an enthusiast, it has to be the most sensible form factor. You know, because no one uses 4-way SLI Crossfire anymore, but you get 2 slots usually micro ATX. So if you want to expand, you can. You usually get like a little bit more I/O. But
most people are doing external DACs, not internal sound cards anymore.
Exactly. So you don't really need and even if you want like PCI Express-based storage, most people are using M.2 Optane's coming up, so that you don't have to slot it into a traditional slot. So it's just like, why don't you see more of this? Because ATX is overkill for most people with the amount of expandability that you're just never going to use. So
yeah, and you can get some really nifty kind of small cases, but that's part of the problem too. There isn't a huge amount of demand on the motherboard side, so the cases aren't there yet, really. There isn't a ton of cases for it because of that. And then there isn't a ton of cases for it because of that, so people don't want to build that form factor. So there isn't a ton of demand for the motherboards. We're in like kind of a stuck situation, but I wish they'd get a little bit more popular.
I hate stuck situations. Ducklet Schwag says, I didn't realize John knew this much stuff. Yeah, I've had a nickel for every time I've heard that. Anyway.
Have you ever watched TechWiki? TechWiki is more or less unanimously written by John.
It's essentially like it's my channel and it's not. I'm basically creative director for whatever it's worth, but tons of other people contribute to it too. But yes, so.
But like especially on the writing side.
I mean,
like, yes, entirely, but especially on the writing side.
I'm trying not to sound like a jerk hogging all the credit. So, but
That's
yeah,
okay.
But yeah, no, on the writing side is basically the John show right now. So,
yeah, I think that's probably about it for the show today. Yeah.
Do we need to make taffy stretch, or are we good? Like
Stretch?
Like when you come to the end of a program, but it's not the end, you have like blank space. Do we need to like?
Oh no, no,
Okay,
we
are
just
we
need
good?
to roll the intro.
Outro.
I mean,
Intro, outro.
it's the same thing. I can try to do it with. Nope, the Stream Deck's still not working.
Such a shit. It looks so.
And look at this.
cool.
When I press the button, you can tell it's just one screen because I'm like damaging it. Hey Taryn, come look at this.
That's so sad.
Are you still alive?
Thank you, Squarespace.
Is it working or not?
No, it's not.
Dang it.
LTX 2017.
Thank you, us, I guess. And thank you, iFixit. Bye, guys. I'm gonna reset this.
Bye. It'll work as soon as you stop streaming. I just know it.